Hi, and welcome to Bob Akmens Sports, America's #1 top sports handicappers since 1978. This is the third of 3 parts of our basketball betting tips video. We'll find out, by listening to more of Charles Barkley's wit and witticisms, why the NBA game has become abominable compared to its glory days, which were in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and even into the 90s. And we'll talk about betting the women's game, the WNBA. Now again, I'll leave the headphones where they are instead of putting them on so that I don't look like Jenny at Time Life Books taking your phone order. You know, I can't resist telling you some more Barkleyisms, as I call them. This is one dude I listen to when he talks about the NBA. The guy was recently interviewed by Playboy. One of my clients, knowing my fondness for Barkley's pearls of wisdom, sent me the article. And there, being interviewed, was Sir Charles in all his glory, but this time not restrained by polite speech. I have railed for years about pro athletes who are spoiled, selfish creatures, whose idea of teamwork is to pass the ball to themselves by bouncing it off a backboard. And Barkley just skewered those same oh-so-lousy role models. When asked why so many of today's players were selfish jerks who lack any concept of teamwork, he said essentially this: because of the absurd, otherworldly salaries and the inane, long-term contracts, the owners have consciously created these beings who now play for, as Barkley put it, F-U money. They make so much of it that they just say to any critic, even one so low on the totem pole as their own head coach, F you. I make $160 million over 9 years, so F you. I'll take all the damn 30-foot turnaround jump shots I want, and F you. And Barkley is absolutely right. Hit the nail on the head, folks. The women's version of the pros, the WNBA, is interesting from a handicapping perspective, principally because they have very low team salary caps, and thus very, very low individual salaries. How low? Well, let me put it this way. In the richest country in the world, where social and sexual equality should theoretically exist, but most assuredly does not, on average, for every dollar an NBA player gets, a WNBA honey gets, are you ready for this? A penny. That's right, a penny. The average NBA salary for these spoiled man-children is roughly $4.5 million. And the average WNBA salary is about $46,000. It's not quite like flipping burgers for a living, but it's also not quite right that such an astonishing disparity exists. So what impact does that have on a bettor? Well, WNBA players, and therefore the games they play, do play truer to past form than does the NBA. This is logical. If Barkley is correct, and I've always known that what he has said was spot on right, well before I ever heard of Charles Barkley, then you must approach each NBA game as a possible spread upset. But such is usually not the case in WNBA games. Favorites cover more handily in the women's game because it's played much more like the NBA of the 50s, 60s, and 70s was. Closer to the college game in focus, intensity, ball diving, passing instead of taking that bad selfish shot, driving to the hoop instead of the easy low percentage jump shot, etc. What do I dislike about the NBA? Let me count the ways. No, I won't go into a Shakespearean soliloquy about the many, many bad habits of NBA players. Those are too numerous to recount. But what I will tell you is this: if the average WNBA guard should be 30 or 35 feet from the hoop, and then try to turn around and take a 35-foot rainbow-like jump shot just to see it wildly miss, she probably wouldn't stay in that lineup very long. When I was a kid and learned to dunk at age 13, when I was already 6 feet tall, we used to call this type of shot an upchuck on the Bronx schoolyard courts, where I once played against Willie Worsley, who then led Texas Western to the dance championship. But on the other hand, when Kobe Bryant does just that, and he does just that several times every game, he gets adulation and applause, especially when he cans that shot, maybe 25% of the time, and then points his finger in the defender's face and talks his endless trash, and creates a slew of obnoxious 8-year-olds who now believe this is proper social behavior to emulate. The vast majority of NBA players are selfish, non-team players, and they absolutely must have the highest percentage of certifiable sociopaths in all organized sports. On the other hand, the vast majority of WNBA players are unselfish, team-oriented players. Always remember that, because it can save you and make you money. We offer many different basketball packages ranging from one-game plays of the day in each of the three types of hoops, all the way to an annual hoops package which covers everything we have year-round in basketball. And these days that amounts to about 46 of the 52 weeks in a year. As I've said, hoops is the toughest sport to keep up with. So let us do it for you and make you some serious profits to boot. I hope that these thoughts will help you to improve your hoops betting tactics. They've helped me not only run one of America's most successful sports services for 3 decades, but have made me a boatload of money betting round ball games over those years. Thanks for visiting basports.com, and I hope we can help you make money many years into the future. Come back often and enjoy all we have to offer. This concludes the third part of our basketball betting tips video. If you haven't watched the first 2 parts, please do so. There's some valuable insight there. And please look over the rest of our site. I'm sure you'll find something you'll like. So for the time being, this is Bob Akmens signing out.